Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Cody Proctor. Mark is off tonight. We begin this evening with breaking news. We now know civil rights and community activist Sandy Williams died after a small float plane crashed off of Whidbey Island yesterday afternoon. Sandy Williams was the executive director of the Karl Maxey Center. Williams spent nearly 4 decades also focusing on discrimination, equity, and social justice. She was also the publisher and editor of the Black Lens, Eastern Washington's only African-American newspaper. KREM 2 confirmed with City Councilwoman Betsy Wilkerson Williams was in Seattle celebrating her upcoming 61st birthday. Wilkerson also told KREM 2 Williams was preparing to come back to Spokane to celebrate the reopening of the Karl Maxey Center. Meanwhile, many are remembering Williams's legacy tonight. The Spokane County Human Rights Task Force posted on Facebook sharing, quote, "Together with all of Spokane, we mourn the loss of Sandy Williams. Sandy was a voice for the voiceless, a tireless advocate for marginalized people in Spokane, a journalist unafraid to speak truth to power, a builder of hope in her vision for the Karl Maxey Center, and a beloved friend to countless members of our community. Our hearts go out to Sandy's family. While she may be gone, her legacy is assured," end quote. Gonzaga University's president Thane McCulloch also tweeted tonight about Williams' death, sharing, quote, "This weekend, our community has tragically lost a leader, teacher, activist, and powerful voice. I am devastated to learn of Sandy Williams' passing, and we at Gonzaga extend our condolences to her family, many friends, and colleagues. Sandy, rest in peace," end quote. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard announced today they're suspending their search for the 9 missing people from yesterday's crash in the Puget Sound. Tonight, we know in all 10 people, including Williams, were on board a single-engine float plane capable of water landings and pontoons.
At this point, we're not expecting to find any survivors. This is certainly a far larger and more serious incident than we expected to have on this holiday weekend.
The plane was en route to the mainland from Friday Harbor when it crashed into the water off of Whidbey Island roughly halfway through the flight. Now, for more information surrounding Williams' death and the float plane crash near Whidbey Island, go to our website at krem.com. We'll also continue to track this story closely and update you as we learn more. Well, tomorrow, the East Trent shelter is set to open. This comes after a long process from proposing the site to now allowing members of the community to stay there. We also know 150 beds will be built and ready by Sunday. Meanwhile, the Guardians are preparing to transition people from the homeless encampment near I-90 to the shelter. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk gives us a look into what people will be walking into.
After months of discussions and delays, the Trent shelter will finally open its doors tomorrow to homeless men and women, specifically those living at a tent city off I-90 in Freya. That camp has grown to more than 600 people. Some have told us they're ready to move out of a tent and have a roof over their heads.
I don't feel safe, so I would go to a controlled environment where I would be safe.
Others say they plan to stay put.
Well, I'd rather live in a tent than be in a shelter.
Why though?
Shelters suck. I've lived in them before. Like, you gotta be in at a certain time, you gotta be out at a certain time, carry your stuff.
The city says about 40 beds will be ready for tomorrow's soft opening. Floor mats will be used until more beds can be built. Initial capacity is expected to be around 150 people, with separate spaces for men, women, couples, and LGBTQ+ individuals. There are no indoor showers or restrooms. The city brought in about a dozen porta potties and shower trailers. Mayor Woodward says this is all temporary.
We are hoping that Commerce will fund restrooms that would be constructed inside, along with laundry facilities.
The Guardians Foundation will operate the shelter. The city says their staff will conduct neighborhood rounds 24 hours a day. There will also be private security and a dedicated phone line to report concerns. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Moving on now to Night B with a quick look at the day's top stories. Today, we've been working to bring you more answers regarding an officer-involved shooting from late last night.
At some point, shots were exchanged. The subject was struck by at least 2 officers who fired their weapons. First aid was immediately rendered to the subject, and he was transported to the hospital for treatment for his injuries.
Here's what we know from Spokane police. The situation began to unfold around 6 o'clock last night when they were called by a neighbor to serve an anti-harassment order on the man who was later shot. Officers weren't able to serve the order at that time. A few hours later, around 10, the person called back again, saying their neighbor was in their backyard with an AR-15 style gun. Several Spokane police officers responded when police arrived. According to the police department, he didn't comply with those orders, which is when the gunfire then occurred. Spokane police says the man died from his injuries at the hospital. Chief Meidel says they also found a gun near the man. The Spokane police officers who shot at the man are now under administrative leave, which are the normal next steps in this situation. Coming up in about 10 minutes, an exclusive interview with KREM 2, the girlfriend of the man shot, shared photos and videos of the moments before, during, and after police fired their weapons. Earlier today, a body was found near the Girl Scout office in west central Spokane. According to Spokane police, the body was reported this morning near North Ash Street and West Maxwell Avenue. An investigation is happening right now. Police are not sure how the person died and say they'll likely have to wait for the medical examiner to find out the cause of the death. The identity of the person has not been released at this time.
It was located outdoors in a heavily grassed area in proximity to a house that was being examined.
Police in Canada say a suspect in one of the deadliest mass killings in the nation's history has been found dead. Police say 2 brothers fatally stabbed 10 and injured at least 19 others in a rural Indigenous community in a nearby town in the province of Saskatchewan. Police say Damian Sanderson was found with injuries that were not self-inflicted. His brother Miles, still at large. Police say the first stabbing took place at around 5:40 a.m. Sunday. Police say there are at least 13 different crime scenes. Both suspects were last spotted together about 200 miles south in Saskatchewan's capital. Police so far don't have a motive. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them right to your phone. Well, let's shift gears right now. For many students, today was the last day of summer before heading back to school. Spokane Public Schools and Coeur d'Alene School District start this new school year tomorrow. As Spokane continues to explode in population, students will be attending 2 new middle schools, including the Denny Yasuhara Middle School and the Pauline Pascal Flett Middle School. Our Up with KREM team will be live tomorrow morning covering the new openings and what students can expect on their first day in the brand new buildings. And speaking of going back to school, a reminder for drivers as students head back to class: slow down in school zones. Speed limits in school zones are 20 miles per hour. Police will be enforcing school zone speed limits, so avoid a fine and an accident and slow down. Now, for parents who are letting your children walk to school this year, remind them to only cross the street in a crosswalk. And as always, look both ways. Now, with school starting tomorrow, I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering about the forecast in the morning. We've got Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo tonight. And Jeremy, what can students expect as they wait out at the bus stop?
Yeah, well, it's one of those mornings where it's going to be a bit chilly, believe it or not, especially with how dry the atmosphere is right now. Let's just talk about that. 66 with the dew point of 33, and that just sets the stage for temperatures continuing to drop overnight. You might see Ham, he's running around out here. 66 in Spokane, 62 over in Coeur d'Alene, and temps in the mid 60s. They are going to continue to drop, but keep in mind we do have a bit of air quality concern as we get into the day tomorrow. That's going to be central portions of Idaho and northeast Oregon for places like Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. You're pretty good. You'll see a little more of a haze as we get into the day tomorrow, but that seems to be about it. Temperatures fall down to near 50, and by the time you make your way out to the bus stop, I would dress for temperatures near 50 degrees, but keep in mind things will warm up rather quickly. So everybody's near 50 tomorrow morning, and by tomorrow afternoon, we climb back up to near 90, so dress in layers and make sure those kids don't forget their jackets or sweatshirts at school tomorrow afternoon.
Jeremy, thank you so much. I guess it's that time of year. By the way, that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. In a KREM 2 exclusive interview, we learn more from a woman who recounts the moments that led up to an officer-involved shooting in Hilliard last night. We're back in 90 seconds.